Say, I just have a quick question to ask. So we have a commissioner meeting on the 19th. And I've been in contact with the HR company that we wanted to. I have a quick question to ask. So we have a commissioner meeting on the 19th. And I've been in contact with the HR company that we wanted to. I have a quick question to ask. So we have a commissioner meeting on the 19th. And I've been in contact with the HR company that we wanted to. I have a quick question to ask. So we have a commissioner meeting on the 19th. And I've been in contact with the HR company that we want to question to ask. So we have a commissioner meeting on the 19th.
Thank you for whoever ended that.
You're welcome.
We'll get this one of these days, right? One of these days we'll get it. All right, well, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Town of Poolesville Commissioners. Today is April 15th, and it's 6:36, and we are holding a special work session to go over the budget. I guess I'll turn it over to Mr. Yost.
Bobby, can you turn it over to me?
No, where are you? There you are. Close. It's all yours.
There we go. Hang on one second. Okay, everybody see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so we went through this the other day, Bobby and I did with Kiri, as supposed to do in the code. President gets the first shot at it, and I think we've got everybody's comments that have come in over, from the last meeting, from staff members. So as we're going through this, feel free to stop me, as I say with all the other discussions we have. This front page here is basically just a summary of everything. It's connected to every other page in the budget, but it gives you a good snapshot of where we are. So in the very top here, you'll see the FY21 budget, the FY21 projection, and then we build the FY22 budget out of that, or out of a combination of the two. And you can see the FY21 projection, we're doing a lot better than we thought we were going to. There was some cuts and things that were done in the event that COVID was going to be worse than it was. And it shows that really Poolesville was kind of insulated as far as income tax and different things like that, that it didn't really hurt as much as it has some communities. And so then we build the FY22 budget out of that. And with that, we'll just roll forward with it because there's not much on another page. And the same thing, we take it through the out years, through our CIP project, everything transfers into this page. And this is the kind of like when we put a budget together, we always go back and look at this, make sure everything's balanced in all the years going out. So the first thing we'll talk about is the restricted funds page. And we talked about some of this last night. Where does the money go for connection fees and things?
Hey,
And
Wade,
yes,
can you make it much bigger,
let's see.
please?
Okay.
There you go.
Actually, I'm glad I wasn't the only one. I was squinting. Okay. So the first row up here is just your bay restoration fee. We know we all pay that on our water bills. It's mainly in and out. And then we're able to collect a fee from the state for collecting it, just like the county gets us a fee for collecting the taxes for it. Here's a sewer connection fee we talked about. And really, it really hasn't kicked off yet. There's just been a small, a bit, everything else has been impact fees. And so this money's just sitting in here, but this is where when houses go and they're $12,000 a pop, whatever it is, this is where the money will go and reside until a project that it's assigned to. And we can talk about right now, the development rec fees. We have allocated some money out there. We'll talk about that when we get to CIP. This is funds that come in from developers. and it's meant to use specifically for recreational type activities. And you guys talked about this at the Parks Board, Jeff. Community events.
And
these are the funds. Yeah,
so this page we're looking at here this is not revenue. This is restricted funds. So it's money that's put in the bucket and saved for later.
it's a restricted bucket. So it's revenue, but it's restricted.
And it's
And-
restricted. It's restricted because of what?
Several things. It could be town policy. It could be legal things like the reforestation fees. It could be, so it's a combination of all types of things. It varies.
But the idea is you can't take money from sewer connection fee and use it to buy ice cream.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So the community events, that's what income comes in from doing the events each year that Kathy does. And at the end of the year, we give her $45,000 a year to do the events. This supplements that $45,000. It's been growing every year, and it's depicted right here. So each year, except for this year, because there were no events, the money just rides out. No money came in, no money went out. Economic development, we talked about this, touched on the closeout. This was placed in here probably 3 or 4 years ago as we were doing some economic stuff, and it just kind of sat there and nothing happened to it. So this money's just been carrying and sitting in this line item. So there's no use for it right now. This could be taken out. Any of this could be taken out with the exception of the reforestation fees and used for anything they wanted to if 4 commissioners voted for it.
But the economic impact, is that supposed to be a bucket of money for a streetscape?
It could actually be allocated towards that. Yes.
Oh, but it's not allocated for that at the moment.
It's not allocated for anything right now. It's just sitting there. We had a study done by Mike Knapp. This is years ago. So there was probably $100,000 or more dollars in this account as we were going through it, and we used it for Van Efford may be a part of this also when we first started at the fair access, and it's been used for those type of activities. This is kind of what's just left over in the bucket.
And how does money get in that bucket?
By the commissioners. They allocate money into it
Okay.
just to set it aside if they wanted to. Reforestation fees, those comes off a fee in lieu from developments, and they've pretty much been used up for the replacement of the ash trees. And development funds, that's a proffer that came in from Brightwell Crossing when they initially started. And those monies go to be paying down debt service, which we'll talk about in a moment also.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's easy. If revenue comes in, it goes straight on this page if it's restricted, and then it's allocated out into specific categories. So nothing really difficult about that. And this is more some summary information that really doesn't help us on our discussion tonight. So let's look at impact fees for a second. And I'm only going to touch on this a little bit. I mean, this could be an in-depth conversation. But as you see, we typically put 30 houses per year, which is actually an average of what it turns out to be. You can see in 20, we did 17. We've done 35 so far this year. So 30 has been a good average. These impact fees are going to stop. As we saw last night, there's only a handful of homes out there that are still on the impact fee schedule to be built. After that, it turns into a connection fee.
Mhm.
And as I said, it has a 1.9% annual increase. So this is what it's going to be, by 2026, it's going to be $14,000 per connection fee. So it does increase each year. Currently, the impact fees are broken down into 4 categories: recreation, public facilities, water system, and wastewater system. The wastewater system is gathering quite a bit of funds up, and the bottom part down here is how it is expended. And as you can see, roll down here a little bit. There's a loan right here going out. That loan will be paid off 23. It may go a little bit in 24. There might be some just some residual payment left.
Well,
But really-
where's the loan? I don't see it.
It's going to be on the debt service page, but this is where the money comes out to go in.
Oh,
Everywhere in this budget, you're going to see money where it comes in and where it goes out.
can you
Okay?
go up a little bit?
Sure.
Because on the line, okay, so on a line, I think it's, well, that's hard to see. 1100 towards the bottom of that group, just above.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, in the green line there. So
Yeah.
that says total water / wastewater. So does this also include the clean water?
So Yes. So when the impact fee schedule was made up, wells, there was 5 wells that were identified and a price tag associated with that. That was 48% of what the fee is going to be. Wastewater system, we know we expanded the wastewater plant. That was 30% of it, okay?
Mhm.
Same thing with the prorated share of the town hall was only 5%, and then recreation for parks was 17. So there was an actual price tag on everything. Here's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Here's how it's broken down. So it
Mhm.
goes into those categories and is paid out accordingly. And these certainly are restricted. They're restricted by law because its impact fees are very strict and regimented as far as how you can spend them.
Okay. So right
Okay.
now, the green column, that's what we expect to get in impact fees
In 22,
in 22. Yeah.
and to the left of it is FY21, what we're projecting.
Now, just so I can rewind and ask a really basic question. So fiscal year 22 really begins on January 1, 2021.
June 31st or July 1st.
I won.
Okay, so July 1st, 2021, and it runs until June 30, 2022.
Exactly.
Okay, so we nevertheless, we call it the fiscal year 22 budget.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. So the bottom part is expenditures. And what I want to point out here, so we pay back developers, they bring a well online, they get the impact fee money back. They have to spend their money, we collect it. Same thing with the parks. If they bring a park online, we pay them back out of it. Okay. This wastewater loan, it's gone on quite a bit of time here. And if you look down the very bottom, so we're going to run out of the loan. We've been paying the wastewater loan off with the wastewater impact fee. Okay. Follow me on this.
Does the wastewater impact fee completely cover the payments on the loan?
There's going to be about $1 million left over.
So
Is
so
where
the
I'm getting
impact-
to.
So we get a little bit more in the impact fee than we have to pay back?
Yes. And so, okay, so that's really the only count. That the public facilities count has quite a bit of money in it right now that we've
Mhm.
not allocated. Okay, so I just want you guys to know this money's sitting there. Okay, we're going to talk about the wastewater part if we're good so far on this.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay. So here we go with our outstanding debt.
Oh, I'm sorry, could you go back up a bit? So,
Sure.
yeah, right there. So on the very, very bottom line, that number 764, it's kind of small there.
Yes,
Yeah, so what is that?
that is the anticipated account balance. This is the
Oh.
anticipated account balance as we get the loans paid off. And you can see this is the number I'm talking about right here. Right here, bam, that $1 million.
Oh, that's the loan amount?
That's what's left over impact fees after
Oh.
paying the loan off.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
So in fiscal year 2022, we're expecting, it's quite small, but I think it's
Actually,
764.
it's yes, that money's sitting there, but you could allocate it, but we're just paying off the loan first. And this gives you time to think about it. This is something when I'm not here, and you guys are going to know this information. That's kind of why I wanted to share it.
Okay, okay, good. Yeah, because we definitely have, we definitely have the I&I project coming along quickly.
Right. So we're going to segue right into that. That's perfect. Okay.
Okay,
So we have the wastewater loan here. Here's where that 76,000 goes each year. And it's going to be paid off here. This won't be a full 76 at this point. Now we've already paid this loan off here. So this is the only loan that's left, the Westerly I&I loan, which did create capacity. So it would be my recommendation once you guys are out here in 2024, maybe the end of 23, start using those funds to pay this off. This frees up this much money right here to go right back into your general coffers and for everything you need for operations and everything else.
mhm. So that was started in 2013,
This one here, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
and do we take the whole 20 years to pay it off, or do we pay it sooner? We pay it off more quickly?
So there's
Yeah.
there's a big penalty. This is a state revolving loan. So they want you to have the money go. So everybody's paying back into the fund. They rotate it back out. So if you pay it off early, you mess their schedule all up. And there's big administrative fees if you pay it off early. We've tried to before. And it actually was going to cost too much money to pay it off.
Plus, if you see the interest rate, very competitive.
Right. And that's the highest interest rate we have, 2.1.
Right. Yeah, we're used to paying in the ones, and that one's 2.1.
Yeah, having your money in the bank is a lot smarter than trying to pay off a low interest loan. Absolutely.
Okay,
So that's really all I'm going to touch on right there. You see what we have as far as that goes. And as you get in the out years, that money has to be used for capacity. This created capacity right here. So this is a national rational nexus directly related to impact fees. So
Okay. What do the words debt service mean?
this is you have a debt and just terminology used for paying a debt, having a loan, debt service.
Sometimes, Jeff, it can mean just the interest that you're paying on it, and sometimes it can mean the whole loan itself and your payment, including principal.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Okay. So now we can start into the budget. So we get to the general fund. This is a summary page here. Again, a little bit more detail as it shows, what's sent out in capital, both, and I'm pointing to both of these because these are both important as far as projection of 21 and 22. Some capital, some unrestricted funds have been used for capitals, and we'll talk about those when we get to the capital accounts. We have.
Could you scroll up a little bit so I can see the column heading?
Yep.
Okay.
So we do have still, even after the fiscal, after the budget for 22, the projection for 21, 1.3 million in unrestricted reserves. And then once we use the 160 in this year, we're down to 1.17 for unrestricted reserves. And typically that would be around 750, 800 is where we usually ride with in unrestricted reserves. So we're still adequate funding there for something that popped up.
Wade, give them a quick background on why we keep our unrestricted reserves at a certain level.
So if you scroll down to the bottom of the page here, right here, the commissioners will maintain unrestricted reserves at 17.5% of the budgeted general revenue.
Oh.
This was a commissioner decision that was made several years ago.
Uh-huh.
And it's just kind of stuck and we've just not changed it. It's worked well. We borrowed from it a little bit and built it back up several times.
So basically, I wouldn't do this really, but unrestricted reserves means you can go buy ice cream.
Yes.
You can buy whatever you want. Okay. Well,
You
not
buy an
literally.
ice cream truck.
Not literally, but yeah. Okay. So it's the opposite of restricted funds. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Could you go back up a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah. So how did the number jump? See the second yellow highlighted number? How did the number jump from that up to 1.3?
So this was a budgeted amount. What's really important. So this was just what happened in the budget. What at the beginning of the year, you guess what it's going to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what it actually was. When we did our closeout the other day, and we showed that more revenue came in and less expenditures went out, that created the 1.3 million. That's what caused the offset. Because you had $400,000 left over. Let me go back up. Make you guys dizzy. Okay. When we did the closeout the other day, after the 20 closeout, we had $400,000 left over.
Oh, okay. Okay. So added to the other number, it bumped up. Okay.
And that bumps it up. Exactly.
Can you make it bigger?
Okay. One second.
Not the number, the screen. Yeah. Thanks.
Jeff, what about thicker glasses? I don't like wearing mine, but it's the way it is.
Okay. So let's get into the general revenue here and see where we are. Now, I also sent around some supplemental forms that come in from the state, and one was a property tax. So where's my cursor? So we anticipated the 1.615 for property taxes, and that comes off of a state form. Actuality, because we have some new houses come online, it's 1.633. And they're saying if we use a constant rate, which is what this is in this budget, it's a 1.648 would be the revenue stream from a constant rate tax rate.
Okay, so that 1.648, that's a prediction.
It is. It'll probably be a little higher because we know we have more houses coming online, and assets will, assessments will be going up. It is always a moving target, but it's usually positive. Okay. A lot of these funding streams stay very stagnant almost. They're the other taxes, corporate taxes, public utility taxes, things of those natures. Revenue sharing, it stays the same. It's locked in. You talked about tax duplication. It's a battle that's going on. I was in a task force in 2007, and it's still a battle going on. So,
well, there was not to get off topic, but there was a meeting of the Maryland Municipal, the Montgomery County chapter of the Maryland Municipal League with the Montgomery County Council yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I lost track of my days. Anyway, a number of the people on the Montgomery County Council kind of voiced kind of a positive or a favorable statement. So maybe something will happen. I guess we just have to hold our breath on that still.
That's right. Yes, it's been a battle.
Yeah.
Income tax, which is our second highest revenue stream. So in the budget in 21, it was definitely taken down in anticipation of potential layoffs for COVID and whatever other impact it may have. It was higher. There was 1 month that dropped a little bit, but it came right back up. And then we extrapolated the data for the last 3 months and what we've had so far. So 1.45, and it's still a little conservative. I wouldn't be surprised if this number during the 22 closeout comes in higher. But I always like to be a little conservative when I can.
Does it mess anything up when because the income taxes are not due until July? Does that have any impact on this budget? Federal income taxes.
No, I don't
The
think so.
date is delayed until July.
Yeah, the payments have been exactly where they have been so far.
Okay.
Highway user revenues, those did go up, and I also supplied you with the form from the state highway.
Yeah.
It's probably due to, as Bobby said, the increase in roadways for Fisher Avenue and some of the county roads you took over. And I don't know if they just gave us more money or if the taxes were a little higher, but that's definitely a big increase in that revenue stream.
So that's the state of Maryland paying us because we maintain the roads?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of these you'll see are very same trader licenses. Depends on development. It could be higher if we close out a little higher there. But you always use 40,000 as a regular because it's the typical average that you're going to find. Interest income did drop off a little bit. Hopefully it recovers fairly soon.
What is a trader's license?
Bobby, go ahead.
That's the business licenses in town.
Oh, okay. Oh, swell. Thank you. So it's like a
And the
permit.
franchise fees is Comcast and Verizon.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. Plumbing permits. Again, and this is like one of those funds that you bring a revenue in, but you're paying an inspector on the outside of it. So it goes right through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zoning fees, very similar. Rental income, that's for the antennas. And we have an annual increase on some of them. There's different deals with a couple of them, but those are anticipated revenue streams to come in.
Can that be used to paint the water tower?
Well, it sort of does because it goes into this general number right here, which is then reallocated back out.
Okay.
So it's not specific.
That's where most of the antennas live, right? On the water tower?
That's where all of them live.
Well, all of them. Okay.
Yeah. And then down here, like I said before, we've allocated some funds out, other unrestricted reserves into capital projects, and we'll get into that.
Well, what was that yellow highlight?
This one here is just
Yes,
we'll talk about that in a minute. As we get into the capital project, you'll see where we've allocated some funds out here. Some of this is for a wastewater treatment plant roof and some other projects. And we'll talk about those when we get onto them. I'll point them out to you.
All right.
And this is other data that just comes in from different areas. This is actually restricted funds when it comes in, but this is like a summary. There's a couple of these in the budget, and basically it's a good place as you're looking at it to go back and check and do it for a checkpoint to make sure that things are correct in other parts of the budget. Okay. So now we'll talk about some expenditures in the general fund. And while we try to keep them fairly constant, there always are increases in certain things. This year, you can see at the bottom here from where we closed out at 277, we're at 347 as far as expenditures go for town administration. And one thing I gave you in your packet was a budget request sheet from Fair Access. So that's $52,000 there. And it's a breakdown I put into the notes also, which I try to be very open so the public can see exactly how the money's spent. Right. So that was an add-in that wasn't there before. 30,000 for the grant consultant. I just kept it in there. I didn't see a reason to take it out at this point. I'm not sure what the plans are. I don't think any of us do. And then the HR consultant, I put $30,000 into projections for 21, and then 30,000 for 22. And I have no idea really. This is just kind of a ballpark thing. It depends what type of program that we're going to be looking at
Right.
when we talk to an HR person. you know.
Okay.
So the funds are here, they're earmarked in here. Doesn't mean they have to be spent. Or
Okay.
all of it has to spend, depends on how it washes out, but we're covered on
Yeah, yeah.
those
yeah.
line items. And that's what, I thought was important for you guys.
Does the grant, is there like a grant writer that we go to for various municipal projects, like a sidewalk or trees or whatever?
Typically, it's done, either Bobby or I would do it.
Oh, okay.
And that's the way it's been. But,
Yeah.
like Ed said, if a grant writer would write a proposal and pay for their own salary, well, that's fine. Like Bobby just got an $89,000 grant for a Hamels Park rescue restroom.
Oh, ADA, make it ADA compliant?
Basically rebuild the whole thing. It's pretty
Rebuild.
it's pretty old.
Okay.
But
So that's in there,
Yeah.
but it might not get spent or it might get spent.
it might be, there's a placeholder there that the funds are there if
Yeah.
needed. Depends what the HR person says. There's so many things in the air. So I'm just trying to
Yeah.
kind of blanket cover stuff for you, so I who knows how it's going to come out in the wash.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay.
And all this is unrestricted then, okay.
Yes. Yeah. So here's a breakdown of the community events, goodwill events, and the fair access report that the budget they requested. So
Mm-hmm.
just very open so everybody can see what is actually in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, there's no elections this year. You'll see that's what the elections cost, about 15 grand. Salary, so that's a big one here. So this is there's a lot of stuff in this yellow box here.
Uh-huh.
So we talked about a 5% increase. This does include a 5% increase for staff.
What about, what about, what's it called now? When the folks have to take a beeper home,
I'll get to that in a second. I got
Is
you
that-
covered.
is that
Yep.
on here somewhere?
Yes, it is. So actually that'll be this number right here.
Where?
And sitting, it's a negative number for its wastewater salary burden, water, wastewater.
Mm-hmm.
So it increased here only by the 5% plus a 1 hour overtime per day for whoever has the take home phone. And the guys
Okay.
were
Okay.
ecstatic about that. They were like, that's great. So that
Well,
was,
Well, it feels to me like 1 hour is not.
well, that'd be
correct.
time and a half. So
Well, I
for
know
us,
it's better than, I certainly know it's better than zero, but folks stay home like the whole 48 hours a weekend because they can't go anywhere because they have a beeper. They're on call, right? So,
well,
I mean,
they can go somewhere. I mean, I've done it. I
Yeah.
was on call. I was the guy on call because there was nobody else in Poolsville. In the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's.
I'm just saying I don't want to underwhelm this because these folks, they're quite dedicated. They take the beeper home or whatever the gizmo is, and they literally kind of can't go anywhere because out with friends or whatever, because they might have to respond.
Yep.
Jeff, they also get money for weekends. They get 4.5 hours Saturday and 4.5 hours Sunday.
Okay, is that always been happening, or is that something
Yes,
new?
yes, if they work weekends.
Yes, whoever's on duty,
Well, does working mean on call?
both.
They're
So,
also on call, but they're also working. The wells have to be checked.
yes,
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
yeah. So
Which-
whoever's on duty does that.
But that's done remotely too, correct?
No, you have to
No.
go in person and take samples of chlorine residuals, all kinds of things. No, it's an in-person,
Good.
have to visit every single well.
Great.
So they get that time and a half plus an hour of OT on top of that.
Okay.
That was their idea. That's what they brought to me.
Oh, who brought it to you, Preston and those guys?
Andrew and those guys.
Andrew, okay.
Preston's guys don't really do that. It's more of a water and sewer thing.
So is this, well, why is this in here for previous years then? Because this is something that's new.
What do you mean?
Well, my understanding was on call, getting something for being on call doesn't currently exist, and the folks were, kind of questioning. the
Correct.
fact that
So
they
you'll
can't-
see it jump from 650 to 697.
I see that, but I don't think it's that much of a jump.
No, it's not. That's plus with the 5% increase also.
Oh.
So that's both those numbers. No, it's about $15,000 a year is what it's going to cost us to give that 1 hour of overtime per day.
Yeah, it's Jeff, it's $47,000 increase with approximately 5% of that being 30 and the balance being the overtime.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Which is all going to impact the water rates, which we'll talk about when we get there.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Okay.
no, what is the objective for this meeting? This is an introduction to the budget, or do you?
This is a budget work session. If you want to change something, now's the time. You have to set a public hearing on Monday for this because of the time frame and the constraints that are placed on you from the charter.
Well, I would like to have something that's clearer in terms of on-call. For the folks that are on call, right?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Now, my understanding, and maybe I don't have it right, is currently the folks who are on call, they go home and they have the beeper. And they might have to, answer the beeper or come into the office at pretty much any moment. And they don't get, there's no reimbursement for that. Or there's no remuneration for that.
Correct.
And
well, no, that's not correct. If they have to answer a call or come in, they get paid time and a half.
For that time that they've had to
Yes.
dedicate to it.
The hour overtime pay is if they don't get a call at all, just hold a beeper in their hand.
okay, so they're home on a Saturday. Let's just make an example, and they don't get any call at all. So, do they have any remuneration for that?
That's where the hour overtime comes in. Yes.
Okay, 1 hour of overtime. Okay, so they have the beeper in their hand for 24 hours. They get 1 hour of overtime.
Technically, they have 4 hours of overtime because when you're on duty, you have to come in and work 4 hours also.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting 6 hours of overtime. So you're getting 12 hours of overtime for the weekend, and you only work probably 6 in truth.
Okay, is that? Yeah.
In this industry, that's very standard.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I told you, I took to the guys, this is what they came back to me and said they wanted.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so they
Yeah,
understand what this is, and probably better than I do.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Jeff, it's rock solid in the industry too. It finally puts us on par with some of the other people that we potentially lose our people to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
This is not a bad part of the compensation. Our compensation was in general less than the other guys are, but this is a pretty standard thing.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. So also when we were having a budget work session with Kiri, we talked about with Bobby and know that she said that she's going to retire sometime in this budget. And so we need to have a succession plan. So I built in an extra salary into that number that you saw on top up there. And that could be used for, and I'll just throw this out there just for consider, and this will be wiped off the page where we go to publish. But to maybe set Bobby up in an assistant town manager position, she could train a new town clerk while the new town manager is getting situated, and she can help with that, and she could be liaison to the commissioners until the end of 2022, and then you're going to have a vacant spot there. Town manager should be fine. HR reports should be in. Town clerk should be fine. The town manager, they can figure out how they want to fill with consulting with the commissioners, of course, how they would like to best fill that position. Is it going to be with somebody that has some HR experience and can write grants and do something? Who knows? I mean, hopefully the new town manager will be kind of fitted in his seat by that position at that time to be able to, work out and have discussions with commissioners on this. But
Right.
in general, you need a plan for Bobby retiring, is my thought. So I'm just offering this up for whatever it is. It's a good discussion that you guys probably need to have in a closed session probably at some point and figure it out.
Right. Yeah, right. Okay.
I like the sound of it.
But
I don't
otherwise,
like the sound of Bobby retiring, but I like the sound of the plan.
38 years is enough.
but
Let's
other
round
way,
that up. Let's round that
either
up
way-
to 45.
No.
in this general income number, you have built in, which is going to be succeeding, for an extra employee to be in there. And that's something I think that Martin was saying, and different people were, we're communicating back and forth. So like I said, I try to hit everything that I'd heard from different people in this budget. So these funds are there, however you want to use them. Now, if we're good with that, we can move on.
I like the plan.
Okay. Legal fees, that attorney, that's probably going to be higher at the end of this year. the projection, I'm sure.
Probably.
We'll see how that goes. Most of these counts are pretty stagnant, as you can see, going down through here. Truck operations, vehicle insurance, uniforms, repair and maintenance is one. No, that one's okay too. We take it down. Hopefully we can get that price down some more. But down below are
Yeah, the other day, Preston was mentioning several vehicles that need to be replaced.
we'll get there in CIP.
Okay,
Coming up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so down below is all the, if you want to know exactly what is in an account, it tells you like the 925 account for town hall, it's the cleaning services, fire monitoring, code inspections that we have to do. So everything is very much laid out, detailed exactly what's in each account. So if you have questions on what they are, it's right there. Okay. And again, basic accounts. We will put away, so much money each year for different resurfacing or sidewalk replacement, street signs. Not a lot of money in street signs. I think all the new ones are in now. So those all should be good for a while. And the street lighting has gone up. They had a lot of repairs they did last year too. Snow removal is one that's a hit and miss. They get the difference between 6,000 and 64,000 from one year to another. So,
Wow.
we put a round number in there, and you never really know what it's going to be.
Mhm. Regarding the street lighting, we have a project to replace the street lights with LED street lights?
We do, and so that's going to be on CIP too. These are all just operational stuff, paying the electric bills, paying the regular,
Okay.
no big
not
replacement
projects.
programs.
Okay, so
Yeah,
these are not big projects. Okay.
exactly. More of a maintenance aspect. The same thing with the parks. We did have the big one where we had the ash trees dying out for a couple of years, and back in the 19 also. Looks like that's probably taken care of by now. But we do to be able to maintain ourselves as a Tree City USA. We always do fund $20,000 a year, either for the maintenance or for new trees going in on certain streets.
Mhm.
And I see that I don't think much has been used this year because of the COVID stuff. I think a lot of things just kind of dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, this is a kind of an off-the-wall question. Yeah, do we have an expense or possibly a revenue for 5G Wi-Fi?
No, not to my, no, I don't, they'd have to have a franchise agreement with us. And so you're testing my memory now. The ordinance we passed for the 5G, I believe that they have to register with us, with the town, to be able to deploy within the town. At that point, you would have a franchise fee you could collect. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. And then they would not be going under the water tower or on the water tower.
No, those are totally different. Yeah, they go out on the street.
Yep. There's no connection associated with the water tower like our traditional leases. It would be a
No, the water
franchise.
tower is full. There's nothing else can go up there.
Okay.
If somebody asks, the answer is no.
Great.
All right, so then you're on regular general engineering. And that price goes up and down on what the commissioners tasked John with, or how many projects we have in the queue. In the master plan rewrite, so there was $100,000 in the budget for 20, and it wasn't touched, obviously. So I split it in 50 and 50. And it's anybody's guess if that's good or not. If we get into it, award a contract in 21, it's going to carry over to 22. So that's why I laid it out this way.
Mhm.
And if you guys are okay with it, it's good as anything I could come up with, because I really don't have a hard price.
There is a
yet.
debate whether, regarding using a consultant on the master plan, but that's for a different discussion.
It is, and no matter what, you're going to spend some of this money because there's surveys and there's all kinds of things that have to happen in general anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, funding has to be in place. And again, there's just the notes that support those accounts. And there's the plumbing inspections, money goes right back out. Trash collection. If they charge us, fine. If not, it seems like they really don't. Well, the price doesn't go up a lot. Leave it at that. And this year we are looking at doing, with the increases we made and some other increases in operational cost, we are looking to grant the water and sewer $40,000 to make it whole for the year. And our debt service has dropped down.
So this
Yes.
is sometimes what Martin refers to as pulling off the Band-Aid. Because the town budget, the town budget supplements the water use. So for example, when I get my water bill, if I was paying the full amount of my actual water, my bill would be higher and the amount that Poolsville subsidizes me would be less. So is this where the subsidy comes from? 40,000?
Yes,
Yeah.
it comes from the general tax dollars. You don't feel it
Yeah.
because your tax dollars, and you pay 17.6 cents per $100 of assessment. So, I mean, our tax rate is very low as far as municipality goes.
Mhm.
And Jeff,
But
you
yeah.
understand it's not, there's no, it's always an approximation, right? We don't know how much people are going to use and
Right.
what the operation costs are going to be. So
Right.
you don't want to overfund it by overtaxing people, essentially by raising their water rates too high. So it's our best guess
Mhm.
that we'll keep our water rates in a reasonable spectrum as well as in its relation to our regular tax rate.
Yeah.
And to jump on the back of that, if we have a dry year, we pump less at the wastewater plant. We use less chemicals. We use less electricity. People use more water to water their lawns and their bushes. And so the water income increases. Dry years are the best for us. If you have a wet year,
Right.
you get hit
Yeah.
on both ends of it. So
Yeah. Okay.
you're right. So some of the prices you'll see and some of the escalations in expenditures are just because we've had the last few years. And so we have a trend that we look at as far as projecting what the budget's going to be.
Well, there's this concept of having the water and the wastewater treatment kind of self-sufficient. And currently it's not because it's being subsidized in order to pay because the rates that I pay are not the full amount. So there's a subsidy that comes from Poolsville in order to pay for the water and the wastewater. And does this number begin to peel back on the bandage, or does it just leave it in place completely?
When we get to the water and sewer, you'll see that this budget does include a 2% water increase, which is allowed by code for the water system. If you want to go anything above 2%, then you have to do some special public hearings and notification to the public that you're going to raise it. If you wanted to make this whole, you're probably looking at a 10% increase in rates.
Okay.
And that's not a popular thing to do, but
No.
you really, I know, but I know we say logically, no, this is what should happen, but it never is a popular thing to do.
Right. Yeah.
Jeff, we have to do is hope for a really dry summer and we'll be fine.
You know what? And we could close out even, you really know, this is our best projection at this point. And you can see where we are. We are projecting a $10,000 for 21.
Yeah.
So
you're saying
that's
you're
down
increasing
from
it-
last year.
Wade, you're saying you're increasing it 2%, but really if it was going to be self-sufficient, it'd be closer to 10%?
That's roughly, that's a back of the napkin. Yes. We've not looked at it closely.
I wonder if we shouldn't obviously we can't go a size 10%, but I wonder if we shouldn't do 3% or something just to sort of close that gap a little bit.
I'd say if you're going to go through the trouble of having a public hearing and advertising and all that stuff, you might as well just do a 5 at a minimum. Because you're having expenses, but by going through this process.
And is it still true that our water prices are less than most municipalities, WSSC and all that?
It's in the past, it certainly has been. I've not looked at it lately. But
Okay, that's something to
The
think
average-
about, I think.
For the average homeowner, if it was changed from 2% to 5%, what would that mean in real dollars?
well, how much is your water bill?
Yeah, I'd also be looking for 0 to 5%, not 2% to 5%, because effectively that's what we're talking to everybody's bill.
Right. So if I would be, Jeff, I would be more concerned about it if I didn't see this $10,000 projection here of where we are right now.
Mhm.
I think that if this was like a 50 or a 30 and we're going to 40, but we're actually coming down from 30 to 10. we have some projections up here because of the increases we made in salaries and things just now. But I wouldn't be in such a rush to change that just yet.
Okay,
We
so
need to-
basically the amount of, the size of the bandage is not all that big at the moment anyway.
It's not. This is, your projection is really much better because some of the increases we put in might not be realized. And once we get to the water account, operation accounts, we'll talk about those.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Wade,
Yes.
if we did make any changes at all to the percentage, would we have to have a separate public hearing specifically for that, aside from the public hearing for the budget presentation?
Anything over 2%, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna get into some capital projects now, general fund. This is a summary page. And it kind of brings it all together for the format of the whole program. So we won't even talk about that at this time. But let's get right into the first accounts, the 2005 account, which deals with office equipment. Really, everything that's in here right now has been in here. So no new projects going on. We have some things we're going to buy this year, upgrade some of the water meter readers and stuff, but that's been in the budget for a bit. In the municipal building, the town hall account, this year we are looking to expend $30,000. The money's been accumulating for a bit to do some outside painting. Bobby said the building's getting a little shabby outside, needs some work for upkeep to be done on it. So we set $30,000 aside for that. May not spend it all, but we'll have to put a bid out for painting and get that taken care of. And then one of the zone dampeners inside one of the units has gone bad and needs to be replaced, and that's $5,000. So those are two new items that are in that budget that needs to go through in 22. On these pages here, the top is how the funding occurs, whether it's use of carryover funds, general funds, and anytime it's not just a general fund, it's always highlighted. So you'll see use of restricted funds or unrestricted funds, those will be bolted out. But the revenue, how it's funded is up here, the expenditure and when it's going to be purchased is down on the bottom pages. So we're all set up that way. And also there's notes on every single one of the projects. So it's easy to follow.
I have to step away for a moment. Be right back.
Okay. Should I give a minute?
No comment.
Well, he was asking about equipment for Preston, and I want to highlight that we make sure that.
Maybe give him a minute because he might have some questions.
Yep.
He was talking about trucks.
But Wade, I appreciated the package that you sent out. Well, I can see the screen. I'm playing with these glasses because these are these progressive. So I got to look at the screen and I got to
The same thing. Yeah.
And look at so I could take my notes on all this stuff here. So.
Yeah, but the water rate issue, if we weren't dropping down to just a projected $10,000, which is one of the lowest we've ever had, I really would be concerned about it. And once we get to the operation numbers of water, I can talk you through that a little bit. I think it'll be more clear.
Maybe if we got out of our system of subsidizing the water, we could have some more funds to look at other options of trash service.
Yeah.
One is tens of thousands of dollars and the other one's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind Wade, Bobby, when is the Bates contract up?
You all just renewed it for another year
Okay, that would give us plenty of time to do what we need to do.
in 24. Till 24.
Yeah, Kiri and I, and Bobby, we had a good conversation the other day about the trash service in general. And down here, it's a little bit different. They give you one tote, 90 gallon tote for your recycle, one 90 gallon tote for your trash. They pick up once a week. And, we looked at this with one of the services out of Frederick that was highly recommended to us. I can't remember the name of the company, but I think it was kind of ex-nate because people like that twice a week trash pickup. But then some people said, no, I'd rather have recycle because I don't have enough, a big enough recycle bin because I have mostly recycled, not trash. So that's something you might want to look at just to kind of reorganize how the collection is done, and it may save money rather than be here 3 or 4 times a week, whatever it is now. What is it, 3 times a week?
3.
Yeah.
If they only come once a week, that's 50% less chance of a screw up.
Can you hear the residents, Jim?
No, I'm not saying, I'm not advocating for that by any means.
But it might be something you put out there to the residents in a little survey, which I think we did get some input last time, and it was,
We did,
yeah.
and it was overwhelming to keep it twice. But if you just do the money breakdown, you really don't say, you know, like, hey, if we go to once a week, everybody saves whatever, $100 on their tax bill. Nobody wanted that. They'd rather have the twice a week every time.
Well, if they had a bigger can also, because those trucks, a man doesn't get out. They pull right up and the machine does it and lifts it. And so it's
Something to be
no
said
mess.
about that. Yeah.
There is.
And
I
also
wouldn't have thought that before.
the recycling would have to be switched back to 2 separate containers.
Oh, we don't,
Right.
here it's the same thing here. It's all in the same bin. One
If
big
they-
90-gallon bin.
Right. We'd have to switch back because right now it's everything in one container.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. That's a wrap on the budget.
Very funny.
All right, we paused for you, Jeff.
You didn't say anything important, did you?
No.
Well, I told him that you might have a couple questions, so we decided to wait.
Okay, so Parks and Streets equipment. This is mostly a Preston category here. What we do on all these accounts here is for equipment, we'd like to get a 10-year turnover. We found out once you get past 10 years, it just costs too much money to maintain the stuff. They keep breaking down. I mean, they get a lot of miles on these mowers and different stuff that they use. So 10 years is what we try to stick with. I programmed all that back in. It was kind of skewed a little bit, and there was some stuff that was missing out of there. This year, they're looking at getting a new snow blower, mower, and a tractor. So those are programmed in for FY22. Like I said, you see the funding on the top. We try to carry the streams out and stretch out each project as much as we can, and just have one big lump sum per year. And then,
How do you get rid of the old equipment? Do you sell it somewhere or just?
sometimes you can trade it in. Most of the time, we just try to trade it in because it's easier to do it that way.
Okay.
If it's worth anything to trade in. I mean, sometimes you only get a couple $100. Sometimes you can get some extra lights on your snow blower for a trade-in of an older one or something. So, yeah, it's usually pretty worn out after those 10 years. Okay. And then there's description of exactly what we do have and then which piece is replacing which piece. So it's very transparent and easy to follow. Truck. Now, trucks are also on a 10-year turnover. To the best that we can, and everything's back in. And we have one extra new truck that wasn't on the list that's set out there. But this year, looking at 22, we're looking at getting 3 trucks, 2 for the Parks and Streets Department and 1 for the water and wastewater. This is a newer one here, the F750 dump. Typically, this would be, we bought one in 2005, I believe. This is a heavy duty truck used for doing the asphalt and all the mud when they have water main breaks. So it's not used on a daily basis, but it's a heavy duty one that no other truck can handle because it has a really thick bed on it and such things. So that's a new one that's in the budget, but it's not projected to be purchased until 23. Other than that, we're right back on track with the 10-year turnover as far as trucks go.
Where
And
is
again-
the lift truck, the one that they use for putting up the lights and
Oh, the bucket truck.
the bucket truck?
We just have it on a list down here. It's a 1995 International bucket truck. So it's still running fine. But Preston's not looking to replace that yet. He said
Okay.
as much as they use it, it's still fine.
Yeah,
we-
whenever I
we-
see it, it looks kind of scary because it's rusty.
I'll have to ask him about that. He didn't say anything to me about it. We had to be something to put it'd be something to,
I've seen it many times and it looks rusty.
because I would love to start filling out some more of the out years.
Okay.
So when I'm not here, stuff is in place. So I will ask him about that.
Wade, go ahead and put in the budget 10 cans of Krylon.
Yes, there you go. We're all still
And a
leaning
wire,
together.
and a wire brush.
And a wire brush, right?
Okay. Other than that, yeah, so we have a list of all of our fleet and then the replacements of exactly what truck replaces what truck on each line. Okay, major town projects. Here you go. You talked about the street lighting program. And this is the funding that's in place right here, Jeff. So we have accumulated $129,000 so far, and we're putting $40,000 a year away. So this helps us a couple of ways. We've been doing it. We've done three small sections or 3 sections within Westmont, and I'm not sure if he's done one in Westerly or not after I left.
No.
But having the money here, yes, you can go ahead and do sections, or if you have grant monies that are available, if you have something programmed in your budget with some funding to it, that means it's shovel ready, and you're more likely to move way up in the grant program as far as getting accepted.
Oh, okay.
If it's not in your budget, you fall off the table.
Oh.
That's
A lot of
that's
the grants
what Congress
are,
does.
you have to put up a certain amount.
Yes, a lot of matching grants. Yes, absolutely. And this is already approved by the local legislative body, which is another thing also that they look at.
And some conversation previously, there was some discussion about Potomac Edison didn't give us a better rate when we were switching to an LED lamp. Is that correct?
Well, when I was there, that was exactly the case. They did fine. It dropped from $15 a month to, what is it, $3 or $4 a month, Bobby?
$4.
Yeah.
Oh, so they did give us a better rate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have a written contract deal with them.
Oh, okay, swell. Okay, good.
Hey,
Dave
Jeff,
Klein is,
Yeah, I think the
Sorry.
controversy was trying to actually get them to set the rate, right?
Oh,
That they didn't have a municipal rate that we
Yeah,
thought was
yes,
correct.
they do, because Senator Garziola, when he was in office, him and I went and talked to the Public Service Commission, and we were the first municipality in Maryland to establish an LED non-metered rate.
Yeah, awesome.
So it's in place.
Good job.
And I
thank
don't-
you. That's
I mean,
that's very important. Yeah.
yeah.
And look, you're still here, and Senator Garagiola is not. Way to go.
Okay.
As
So
much as we liked him,
he did good by the town.
he definitely did good by us.
So Fisher Avenue streetscape, $123,121 accumulated. And again, setting money aside, and it gets pretty big in 23 and 24 and 25. With a lot of
Yeah.
money being set aside to build up to do, whatever portions you want to do. If you're going to piecemeal it, or which is kind of what's happening already. You spent the 14,000 on the crosswalk lights. That was part of the streetscape plan. So, yeah, the funds are there, and however you guys want to expend them. Sidewalk
Jeff-
building, yeah.
Oh, Jeff, sorry about that. When you want to talk about American Rescue Plan, you're talking about that's something that could meet some of those goals, as opposed to trying to devote it to infrastructure, especially when you get infrastructure at super low interest rates.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, so sidewalks,
Sidewalks, Wade. So a number of residents have said that the new Westerly Grove sidewalk does not go all the way through to Wooten.
Oxley
Oh,
Farm.
Bodmer. Yeah. Is that part of
Okay.
this money here?
it could be. The Parks Board usually develops a list and makes the recommendations on how those funds are going to be spent. And I think there's a plan in place that they've already went through this exercise. I think the Parks Board walked the town, came up with a list. So that'd be something really that you might want to ask them about. Talk to them
We're
about.
waiting to see if we get the safe walkway grant.
That's what it is. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay,
Thanks.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's also supposed to be a trail or a walkway from Westerly Grove on West Willard Road inside the fence down to Westerly Avenue. It's in the PIA. Just want to make sure that doesn't get missed also.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jeff,
That's what we're
you
talking
should,
about.
if you can, Jeff, if you can put that in your ditty bag to talk to the Parks Board about, and stay on top of those guys, because that's really where that's going to generate out of, if it hadn't already.
It may have, but it's a good note to make so I can follow through on that. Yep.
Okay. And then the GIS system, that's something that I'm not sure where John is with it now, but it's to map out all the water valves, sewer manholes, everything, and have everything GIS done.
And Wade, is that a straight, just engineering function for John and his, I mean, like a designated engineering function versus his general engineering?
Yes, it's designated.
Okay.
Yep, I'm not sure where he is with the project, or I think some funds had to accumulate because there was a base number of like $40,000 or $30,000 that he had to have to really start getting the project rolling.
Right. Yep.
What is GIS system?
It's where you can map everything on a lateral latitude and longitudinal basis, and you can say, okay, well, where's this valve? And it'll say, okay, this is exactly where it is. And you can walk up right up to it and it'll take you to it.
Okay, okay.
It's creating a street map for everything that's underneath our,
Electronically.
underneath the ground.
Very useful, yeah.
And then the intersection improvements, that's something new. That is for the intersection of Hughes Road and Tom Fox.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're building out a curb line and do some curb cuts in that area right there to make it safer
And
for
fix the
pedestrians.
crosswalk. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So that's a 22.
Yep.
Okay, so we get to park
Well, how come
projects
go up?
here. Yeah,
Go back up, please.
Okay.
Please, yeah.
how far?
Yeah, so, oh, it's on here twice. Oh, I see 2025 and then 2025 again. How come it's on there twice, Wade?
Where are you looking?
What page?
In the left-hand column, you see street lighting program kind of near the top. And then you can look in the box lower than that, you can see street lighting program.
It's the funding, and then the other ones is expenditures.
Yeah, top is how it's funded. This is
Oh.
money in,
Very cool.
this is money out. 'Cause a
Okay,
lot
and
of
that
times-
bottom line there is the difference between the money in and the money out.
Yes, exactly. That's what's left in the account at the end of the year. And why that's important is when there's some other sheets in this budget that match up to this. And if the numbers don't match, you have a mistake somewhere. It's
Oh.
built in on purpose for this,
Okay,
which is it's kind of a neat function. But yes, bottom's always expenditure. They're always negative, and these are always positive up here because we save up a lot of money before we drop down to spend it a lot of
Mhm.
times.
okay. So everything has a positive balance then.
Yes, it should. Nothing lower than zero.
Knock on wood, yeah, knock on wood.
That's right, exactly. Okay, park projects. So this year we're definitely, there's some other stuff in here finishing up other projects, but in the highlighted areas there, Bobby did get that grant for $82,500 for the Helmholtz restrooms, and that's nice. This originally was programmed for like 2027 or 28. Have it in the budget, having the money built up to it, puts your project ready. So when you go to throw a grant in there, they see you already had legislative approval and you have money going. It's makes it a lot easier to get the funds. Okay, so that's going to happen. Helmholtz restroom this year in 22. Rubberized tot lot mulch. So we use some of those restricted funds, those development funds we talked about, and here they are, 60, 30, and 30. That's all the park rec fees that are coming in. We're going to use those out there. Bike racks. This is
Now,
something- yeah.
Preston was talking about this new mulch, which is more expensive to purchase, but it lasts much longer. And apparently
yeah.
it's safer as well.
Yeah,
So
once-
what does that word open mean in the year to do column? Open.
because it's gonna stay open and keep being funded in the out years until every park is done. That would be the goal.
But there should be a list of parks because Preston already spoke about it, of what parks to do in the in this 20.
Right. So right here at the
22.
bottom of the page.
Uh-huh.
So parks have a 20-year turnover.
Okay, well, you could just told me that because that's what Preston said. Okay.
Okay, so yes, we got a 20-year turnover on parks. So whichever ones he does, I don't think this encompasses every park. And also we have stuff going on over at Brightwell right now. That's wood chips. That's going to be out here before they have to be redone. And so, yeah, it's something to think about for a future, out in 26, 25, 26 year.
Mm-hmm.
That's for
Well, that-
Elgin, Stevens, and Helmus.
Right, specifically, exactly. And this is probably Bodmer or whatever's next to be redone. So we kind of
Okay.
try to program it that way. And it's open out here for right now to see, okay, well, what's next? And we don't know yet. Whatever's failing the worst. Wood chips used to be just wood chips. And then they had to be ADA compliant wood chips, which were kind of like finer and kind of thinner. And when they sit in wet a longer time, they just decay so fast and they're more expensive. So it makes a lot of sense to go with the rubberized stuff. I think it's going to last a lot longer and be a lot safer. Bike racks, which has been on the drawing board for a long time. It started with Sustainable Maryland. Curie actually made a list, and it was one of her projects that she did. So we put $5,000 out there to be spent this year. And a pollinator patch. Both of these are good for you, Ed. You need to take this back to your folks in Sustainable Poolsville. This could be points for you guys, both of these things. And this is on Collier Circle Trail, going back to the pond. There's a big green area, and going to plant wildflowers back there.
I do believe Preston spoke about that, yes, recently.
I know, I'm shocked that he wanted to plant wildflowers. I don't know what you guys did to him after I left, but so that's it as far as parks goes and what's going to happen this year. Streets. So John does the assessments on the streets, and this year these are the streets that he developed for the FY23 paving program. We start putting money aside right now. We've put away about $400,000 a year for these funds to be able to make the paving happen. So
there's no paving going on in
21. Yeah, ideal. I mean 22. Yes, no paving in 22. Ideally, you would save up every other year, do it. That way, you have a bigger bang for your buck. You have a larger scope for the asphalt companies.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger the project, the lower the bid.
Yeah.
Per unit.
Right.
And that's pretty simple page there. Okay, now we can go to water and sewer. So we good? Everybody good on general?
Was there a line item for salt and snow removal and whatnot?
Yes, that was the snow removal line that we talked about. It was 6,000 one year, 64,000. So we have $40,000 as a placeholder every year, and you never know where it's going to land. But that's your salt and snow removal.
Can you go back up? I didn't see it.
1070.
Do you know all these numbers by heart, Bobby?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, here we go. Let's see.
I thought it was just on the previous page.
No.
No, it was up here a little bit in the operations.
There it is.
We talked about it a little earlier.
Yes.
Snow removal.
So
where
40,
was I? Oh.
So 40,000
Okay,
we
got it.
have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on.
Almost.
We're getting close. Okay, water and wastewater. So here we're looking at for the projections. This is our summary page again, just like the general fund. And really, we look like this is a 2% increase, $1.477 million as far as revenue coming in, which is pretty darn good. Expenditures are up, and we'll talk about that. 1.5 million, where it was 1.32, and part of that is the salaries we just talked about. So let's just get right into it.
However, you're going a little bit too quickly.
Okay,
The money coming in does not cover the money going out.
that's exactly correct. That's exactly correct.
Well, I was hoping you would say I was wrong.
No, like I said, this is the number. The 10,000 is what the projection we're working on for this year. If this was a bigger number, or the projections weren't as high, I think that we're going to do better than 40,000. This is a projection, and it is kind of conservative. And
So 40. So when you say we're going to do better, that means a smaller number.
Yes, a smaller grant.
Okay.
So
Why do you refer to it as a grant?
Because the commissioners in 2004 adopted a resolution to make sure that the general fund would grant, not subsidize, grant money into the water and wastewater fund to make it whole. It was done this way because when you go out to take a loan from MDE to do improvements, they want to make sure that you can operate, maintain those clearly whatever improvements you're building with your operations account. So you have to make sure your operations account whole. So this was our cosign to make sure that we could get the loans, basically.
Okay.
So that's why
I think the
now,
word
Seth did change it to subsidy, but it's really not a subsidy. Technically, by the adoption of a resolution, it's a grant. And I
Okay.
just not changed at all. I wasn't for sure why it had changed from, it used to say grant, but
Well, I'm good. I mean, I'm good with the word grant for whatever reason there was historically, but in a matter of fact, it is a subsidy. Right? It's making up a gap and the money's coming from other taxpayer money.
Yep.
Okay.
yep. I mean, at the end of the day, that's exactly right.
Okay.
So here's our user charges with the 2% increase. And we can do that by code as part of the budget without special hearings and different things. Other income in here, we might get a little bit more in interest if it comes back up. We were 27, the closeout, we're 25 now, 52 to 55. It's hard to say, on some of these accounts. Like I said, if it rains less, our expenditures be less, and actually your user fees go up a little bit. So that, I mean, a dry year could make all the difference in the world also. If it doesn't go down, I'd say next year you'd be taking a look at doing like a 5 or an 8% increase, which is something we've had done in the past. Every 2 or 3 years, we do a larger increase, and we do a study of other municipalities and jurisdictions and what their water rates are, and have a clear picture rather than just saying, well, we have this and we should just raise it. So it's a little more thought out process and more transparent to the people so they can understand it also.
And also too, Jeff, just to be clear, it was back in the day. Remember, the people are still paying one way or the other, right? It's either a user fee or a tax fee. People are going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And the thought process was, at least before I even came into office, was that it really wasn't harmful because people wrote off their taxes, but they can't write off their water bill.
Oh yeah, I think you've told me that before.
So it wasn't harmful to have it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So let's take a look at our expenses and what's going on here. Our sludge hauling, $180,000. Yeah, that's killing us right there. And we know that the I&I is part of this. Makes it difficult to do water, it fluffs their blanket, all kinds of issues. Matt has reached out to Maryland Rural Water, and we're looking at some operational strategies as far as different aeration and different ways to settle it out to help it dewater it, because you pay by the ton to haul it to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So that's something we are working on, and I sure hope we can get this number down, because that's really high. Outside laboratory services, there's a little bit of extra money built into this. I'm not sure that we're going to use it this year as far as wastewater goes. Electricity, again, that depends on your rain. This actually could go down, a couple thousand. Each one of these could be down a couple thousand very easily, depending on the weather.
I thought the electricity came from the solar arrays that are right near the water treatment plant.
So we don't own the solar arrays. We pay the owner of the solar array a kilowatt hour fee for using them. So a dry month, you pay them 10,000. A wet month, you're paying them 15,000. Because you're paying the
Just
solar
because
company.
the wastewater treatment plant has to process that much more volume.
Absolutely. Those pumps take up a lot of electricity.
So even though we have that solar array, it's not like free for us.
It's not ours. That's right. It's not our solar array yet.
Oh,
Right. Once it's ours, then you're going to see some significant savings.
okay.
But right now, you're paying a kilowatt hour, not to the power company, but to a solar company.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Chemicals, probably right on target where it's going to be, but again, that's dependent on the weather. Laboratory expenses, this did go up a little bit here.
Now I see that. I remember there's a CIP project for the wastewater treatment plant because, the building maintenance that is in dire need of a roof and paint job, and
Yes.
and other improvements.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and we'll be getting to the CIP after the operations. Again, like these are all operational things here. The bills that are, weekly, monthly.
So in terms of this budget for 22, really half of 21 and half of 22, did Matt Haga and all those folks give you the numbers?
I probably had about 12 conversations with Matt Haga so far.
Okay.
About
All right.
10 with Preston, 10 with Andrew,
Okay. Good.
720 with Bobby. We have a hotline. Correct.
Yep.
No, yes, absolutely. No. Everybody has weighed in on all these areas here.
Good.
This is one I really want to get down, the wastewater plant repair and maintenance. And we've taken different things out of it, and the ultraviolet bulbs are one of them. This was $8,000 a year that was going towards it. Anything that is a larger piece of equipment or something that is going to go into the auditor's list of appreciation, depreciation schedules should be capitalized and bought out of the capital expense account. And so that's what we're doing more of. Now, last year, some bigger pumps and certain things that were purchased were not put into a CIP account, and they should have been. I wasn't here to do that, but I put some notes at the bottom of this page here so that it's pretty much clear. You know, if you're buying a $5,000 pump, it doesn't go in your regular repair and maintenance. When you're changing oil or putting new air filters in a piece of equipment, that's what would go into the operations and maintenance equipment, not replacement big parts. Okay, so we're hopeful to get this number down.
Okay.
And I think we probably can. Which everything we've talked about now is getting stuff down. So hopefully we won't have a big deficit at the end of the year. This is just the wastewater administration portion of it, the salaries and accounting services that we have to do, you know, office supplies. No real big ticket items here. Telephone's a big one because we have some of our pump stations and different things have cellular communication devices on them. So if alarms go off, they notify us. So that's gone up over the years just because of the new technologies.
What is GF 755 and GF 760?
Oh, these just reference. So when we were looking at the salary pages initially, there was a negative 755.
Oh, is that
negative-
general fund line 755?
Exactly.
Okay, swell.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a reference backwards then.
Exactly. Just so everything carries through. It's easy to follow.
Okay.
Okay, so let's look at the water side of it a little bit. This jumped up here, lab testing, because we have an unfunded mandate from MDE to test for PFAs, which is a fire, something in firefighting chemicals of some sort, but it's a new thing and they want us to test all the wells. It's another $15,000. So we'll be testing all the wells for this chemical in 2022. Those are always the best. So there's nothing we can do about that.
That's the what we call it the AFFF, aqueous film forming foam, and it's used for structure fires. And yeah, so it's found that it contains well, you said the acronym, I don't remember what it was.
PFAs.
Yeah, and that gets into the ground and could contaminate the water. So fortunately, it's not used very much around our area.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, but nevertheless, it has to be mitigated.
So you know more about it than I do. I just know the dollar amount.
Yep.
Okay, electricity. You were estimating a little bit high. This number, it's hard to say whether it's going to come up or down, but it's fine for right now. Again, these are just projections of, assumptions. Water repair and maintenance. Here's another one of these accounts I would like to see come down because bigger equipment and pump purchases shouldn't go in this account, and they have been in the past. They should be going into a CIP, which are all set up and ready to go.
Oh, okay. So that number should be really moved to CIP and
But the whole thing, you're probably
spread
going to, you just spend around 15, maybe up to 20, depending on what's going on, but you shouldn't be having pumps, large pump purchases or VFDs that blow out. Those kind of things should not be coming out of your repair and maintenance. A small bearing goes out of a pump and the staff's going to repair themselves. Yes, that comes out of this account, but larger items, they're going to be capitalized and depreciated, should not be in here.
okay.
And again, here's the water side of it. You have the references back to the same number again. So it's split evenly between water and wastewater as far as this budget is concerned. So now we can talk some CIP projects. Okay, so starting with the water side of it. Up in the very top here, equipment replacement major rebuild. That's the money we're talking about here. And you can see we have $50,000 built up in it. And there's 20, 20, 20 all the way out. So this is where these pump purchases and things will come from for the water aspect of it. This year, we also are looking at replacing some water valves. We had a program, we did several of them a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Is that figuring one pump is going to break or two pumps are going to break?
It's really not anticipating it. It's accumulating these funds in here because It doesn't happen one or two at a time. Like Andrew said, he had 3 large wells go down all at once.
Mhm.
And those are very expensive pumps there because you have to have a crane come out and pull them out. Really,
Oh, yeah.
doing the actual work costs more than the pump itself. So really the accumulation of the funds is the important part of it. And if you're ever getting down too far without having an accumulated bank here for emergency pump replacements, then you'd want to fund that. So water valves, yeah, Andrew said he has some more broken valves out through town. And so John and him they have a list of stuff. So we're just setting up some funding streams for it so they can take care of them. They have a water main break and they can't shut down a segment and they have to go back 3 or 4 different segments to be able to isolate that water main. That's not good for anybody. Customers out of service longer, more time for the guys looking for valves and trying to shut them down and get the pressure off the line.
And more customers turned off.
Oh, yeah. Well, fixing these valves is important. And
Yep.
the system's just aging like we talked about the other day. It's
Yep.
something you have to do. Really not a lot else on here. You got the painting the tank this year. I know John's working on a bid packet for that that you guys will be seeing at some point.
Yeah, there's going to be a public comment on how the water tower, what kind of school logo should be on there.
I watched that one meeting. I'm not sure what you guys did. That's a small part of really doing the whole project. And
Yeah.
that's like,
Right.
So yeah, we'll have to direct John. I told him just to put something in there that, per letter cost, and you guys can determine whatever, or however you want to do that.
Okay.
I'll just deal with the money. You can do that. So in the wastewater aspect of it, again, at the top there, we have the equipment rebuild stuff that we're starting to save money up for. And the wastewater is actually part Andrew and part Matt Haga, because it's the wastewater plant and the sewage pump stations out in town. So there's a larger number here. There's a lot more pumps and a lot more things that can go wrong during the year. There's the ultraviolet bulbs I talked about. $8,000 is set aside. So every year of the year, he does a switch out of all the bulbs. A lot of these projects in here you're seeing are part of the denitrification filtration system when it gets under construction. So this money's been sitting here for a bit, but it's going to be utilized for that project also. This year, we're looking at doing some electrical upgrades. That's Matt Haga. The roof was a significant amount, and this is a guesstimate right now, just from looking at some square footage and engineering standards, about $120,000 for the roof, $40,000 for electrical upgrades. And then him and Andrew both want to pump out some wet wells and a basin. So that's $30,000 for that project. And that'll be done this year. And John's going to be putting together an RFP for the roof and going out to bid. So that'll be coming for you guys to award a contract at some point also. And again, that's a flat roof. It's a little bit different than, shingles and stuff. It's hot tar and several layers.
Membrane.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way we're going to go. The membrane is much more expensive, but I don't know if he's looking for alternates on that or how he's doing it yet. I don't know if he knows yet. So in the minor water and wastewater equipment, we have a few new things this year. The wastewater plant needs an HVAC. So we had some funding in FY21 left over, and so that's where it's being funded in 2021. The hydrants, same thing. We had a project here for a sewer camera, and now they determined it's cheaper to have some of these companies come in when they need it. They have their own cameras and their own setups to do the actual videotaping and give us the disc on it, than it is to buy a $75,000 camera that is very breakable, and parts for them become obsolete pretty quick. We have one right now, but it's kind of outdated, and to replace the lens, because they don't make the lens anymore, it was a terrible price.
Oh.
We do have a push camera, a smaller one that we can use, but this is for a robotic one that they were saving up for, for several years. So
Okay.
we kind of reallocated those funds to take care of these 3 projects.
Mm-hmm.
And those companies respond fast enough for our guys, correct?
Yes, and most of the time those are used for a planned
Right.
To look at something. Because if you have something you need to look at, like in a lateral or something like that, the push camera works fine for that.
Got it. Okay.
And that's coming from those guys. They're like, this is kind of a waste of money. We don't want to deal with it. And so I said, fine. The wastewater front steps need some work. Matt Haga told me he's got a price. I guess they're going to pump it up with some concrete underneath of it and redo some of the brick veneering on the front. And that was $7,000.
And the hydrants, those are not owned by WSSC, right? They're
No,
owned by.
sir. Yep, all the red ones are owned by Poolsville.
Okay.
WSSCs are gray and green.
Okay.
Everybody has their color.
Does Jonesville have hydrants?
No, there's no water system up there.
Oh, they have wells.
All
Okay.
private wells.
Okay.
Okay, this is the inflow and infiltration account, and we touched on it last night. You can see we have $379,401 sitting in that account that can go towards, starting the project. Otherwise, we have funding going out through the out years, but nothing, for the full spectrum of what we were looking at as far as a big rehab, big sections. And then down here in the general infrastructure, we've been saving money in this account and still continue to do. It's pretty big numbers as we go into the out years. But we've identified 2 sections of water lines, one by the Westman townhomes on Wooten Avenue, and a section of townhomes over by Wooten and Hughes, where the pipe is really degraded just greatly. And they have saddles on them that connect the main line to the houses. The bolts are actually rusting off and they're breaking off 2 or 3 at a time. And it's time to just get a hold of that and take care of that before it really becomes catastrophic. And so they're pretty big price tags on there. $320,000 between the 2 lines. And I did use the unrestricted funds that I talked about earlier to fund this. And again, we had excess restricted funds, so we still do. So we're okay with that. And that's it, basically. That's the budget in a nutshell.
What's the next step on this, Wade?
So that's good. I'm glad you asked that. So we need to set a public hearing on Monday. So this is all kind of work backwards from what the code says.
Well, the public hearing has to be on Monday?
Set a public hearing. So you have to set a public hearing. It has to be advertised for 2 weeks, and then you can have the public hearing. And then for 2 weeks after that, you have to adopt it. This is spelled out in the charter. I mean, just there's a timeline that's established in there. Not for sure. It's always been there. So we need to follow the rules. You went mute.
So this
I had my phone on mute, but how do the residents get a copy of the budget?
So Bobby's going to put it online on Monday. I need to tune it up some more, and I don't have my charts in here yet or anything, but I still need to clean it up a little bit. There is one other project that's going to go in the out years for the replacement of Fisher and Elgin pump stations. I just got the numbers from John, so I need to put that in there. They'll be like in 26, but I need to build some money out for it.
Yep.
But it won't impact the 22 budget at all, where we are.
Okay.
So this all looks good to me. I think I was just Googling what kind of salary increases people have gotten across the country year over year, and it's without getting too into the weeds on it, it sounds like 5% is generous. I do think it's probably a fair salary increase. Wade, do you get the sense that we're still a little bit lower than some of the other places around?
I've not looked for a while. I mean, I don't want to give you just a blanket answer. So you have to take a look at what positions are. I mean, the guys that mow are different from the guys who do water and are licensed by the state. And so, we've raised them up, and that's a difficult thing to do in itself also.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're nobody overcompetes us drastically. And we could improve more, but really someone needs to do an analysis of the surrounding areas, the salaries, and kind of match them up with the grades that we have, and similar grades in other locations.
Yeah.
Which it's been about 7 years since I've done that, but it should be done.
We didn't get one last year.
Right, I heard, yeah, Jim said that.
And Bobby makes a good point. That's something that should be taken into consideration as well.
Yeah. Like I said, it
And
seems
it-
5% seems like a solid, fair place to go with it.
You know, and we always did that, Mark. We always try to keep up with the CPI, Consumer Price
I remember.
Index, as far as your, just the COLAs that go on. And about every 5 years, we would take a look. Okay, let's evaluate everybody again and see where we are. And we've done up to an 8% increase, on some of those years. So, I think a 5% is just a good, bam, establish a good setting right now. You're definitely not going to pay. Yeah, you're not overpaying them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except maybe Bobby, she might be overpaid.
Thanks.
He's already leaving. He's not staying.
That's right.
Um,
But wait, I do like having that. I think it should be a consistent practice. Every so often, being able to look at those rates with comparable rates,
yes, absolutely.
right? And so as we move in and we get the next person, and in that transitioning, we got to remember to make sure that person knows that's something they should keep on their dashboard.
Yep, I'm sure the HR person can help establish these things. I mean, I would think
Yeah,
so.
I think
at
so
least.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do like being able to have that assistant, that building that in the budget, to have that additional staff person.
Yep. So it's all set up and ready to go. So that is a
Yeah.
good thing.
yeah, and another comment I'll make about the budget. I'm glad you kept the money in there for the possible consultant for the master plan. I think that's something. I mean, I know the entire planning commission strongly voiced their desire for that. It seems reasonable. Fair Access is getting money for Van Eperen. It seems like it's something that it's an incredibly important document. So I'm glad it's in there.
Yep. Said I tried to meet everybody's wants and needs fairly, and I think we did.
Yeah, I
What
think so
about the
too.
water rates?
What's that?
What about the water rates?
Well, this does reflect a 2% increase. I think everybody's on board with just kind of sitting tight with that right now.
Okay.
And hopefully we can get the expenditures down this year so that it's not an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna ask a rookie question, because since I am a rookie, it's when moving forward, what time of the year should we be doing this? Because I remember you saying something about us being behind.
Typically in January. So I would be having my meetings with the guys at the end of December. Soon as we're finishing up our Christmas party, they're handing me their wish list. And by January 1st, I'm putting the budget together. I've got a good base budget, because it's tedious, because you have to move all the rows over manually. Then you got to check them. You got to check them against the reference pages to make everything's correct. And once you do that, then you start plugging in your new money, your new budgets, and you do your projections. So January is when I always started. And in March, we would have this meeting right here.
Mhm.
All right, so that's good to know then. December, January, December 22, December 21, it should be on the radar. January 22, it should be in motion. March 22, we should have some discussions.
Right. And I think that might have been on that list that I had left with Bobby and
It was.
Jerry. And yeah.
Okay, no, it was good to know. It's thank you very much for all that you're doing.
Yep. So what do you guys want from me on Monday? I mean, we could just set the public hearing and say that this is the document's available. I don't think you want me to walk through it like I did tonight, for sure. Jim?
Well, you mean on the
Yeah,
public
can we do
hearing?
a lot more condensed version on Monday?
Yeah, the public hearing, really, we don't talk. The community talks, and you can ask questions, but I can do a condensed version if you want me to, or something, do a little PowerPoint, or just
Highlights,
whatever you want.
highlights would be great.
Okay.
And maybe
summary.
highlight the change. I think maybe highlight the things that are gonna be different, what those changes are.
Yeah.
So we're just upfront and transparent with everyone.
Yes.
Actually, Wade, what we should do is that, I mean, that's important, you guys, but I think that the town doesn't necessarily follow it year to year. So we should be potentially highlighting the things that matter most to our people. So it does, I don't think you have to go line by line through the budget. Why don't we figure out exactly what the people really want to see, make sure we hit it.
No, we've jumped all over the place tonight, but I can certainly just stick with FY22 because that's what it's about. And just go with that. That's going to shorten it down quite a bit.
Does this budget propose a change in the tax rate?
This is a constant rate.
So you should explain the difference between constant yield and a regular rate.
Sure. Constant yield would be, so they do your whole assessment and they say you brought in $1 million last year. So your assessments go up or you have more houses come online. So to make sure you get a constant yield, you would have to lower your rate from 18 cents to 17.6 to still make $1 million. That's what you did last year. Typically, you would want to keep a constant rate and then your revenue keeps going up a little bit because everything else goes up also. So you might, so keep a constant rate has always been what I've recommended each year. You guys dropped off a little bit, which probably saved about $8 per household. It's a $23,000 hit to the town. So about one penny is about $75,000.
Oh.
Just to put it all in perspective.
Yeah.
So if you did a constant tax rate, like I said, where we are now, we're going to be at the 17.6 or 17.8. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but you're gonna have a little bit more revenue than you did last year, and that will climb a little bit and just keep it at your constant rate.
So the rate
Sometimes-
remains the same, but the number of taxpayers goes up.
Yep. Or sometimes the assessment can go up or combination.
All right.
Yeah, other revenues aren't static, you guys. We're getting more income tax revenue than we've ever gotten.
Mhm. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
are there any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Well,
so
are we
much
going to
for
review this
waiting.
again on Monday?
I will make a condensed version. We won't see this. I'll make it transparent so everybody knows exactly what we're doing, the key items,
Okay.
just like you talked about just now.
And then we're going to set a date for the public hearing. And then wait, are you going to make a presentation during the public hearing?
No, public hearing, we say nothing. We take public comment and answer
Oh.
questions.
Okay.
just-
I mean, that would be, that's the purpose of it.
Okay. Swell.
And then 2 weeks from that, if it's all good, maybe, public may come up and say something and you want to change something in the budget. We may have to have another work session to change something. I don't see it happening with this budget. It's pretty basic. In 2 weeks after the public hearing, you must adopt it.
Okay.
At least that's what the code says, the charter.
Yep.
Okay.
Great, thanks so much for all of your
Right,
work
the-
on this, Wade and Bobby.
Okay.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
the tax rate has to be established. The budget doesn't have to be necessarily approved, but the tax rate has
So
to be
two
established.
different things. State law
Right.
dictates what you do with the tax rate. We're exempt from the tax rate because our increase is not over $25,000. However, our charter says we do have to do the budget. So I looked it up the other day because I was thinking, no, there's a reason, but you're right. State law says one thing, our charter says another.
Okay,
So
Okay.
it's
Thank
our
you.
rule that does it.
And for Montgomery County to do our tax bills, it has to be done in May.
Right. They gave us a couple
Okay.
days. That's why I think May 17th is the date we're looking at, Bobby.
They said the 14th, they gave me a couple days.
Okay. Yeah, because the 17th is that Monday. So yeah, so we're just on the cusp of getting it in.
very good. Thank you very much for all the work and for the recovery job on the budget, and
Yes.
much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, Wade. Thanks, Bobby.
Yes.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, to
All
everybody.
right.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Good
Good
night.
evening.